Go download my free Legato course right now and learn to play fast in the fastest way possible. Hey, so how do you master legato? There's one thing, the number one mistake we make is to think that it's not a special technique, like it's the easiest technique, because it seems sometimes like it's just like not fretting the notes, right? Instead of picking, we just basically fret the notes, and then because we have a lot of distortion, it comes out as if we're playing. But that is the essence of the challenge that you must handle if you want to become really good at legato, is the fact that it's the same thing in the brain until it's not. So you need a special way of practicing legato in order for you to have it be a separate thing, so your brain doesn't start just fretting notes without picking them. Because that's why a legato run like this, it becomes like a three, it doesn't sound as well, right? It doesn't have that rhythm to it. It becomes like because you're not really emphasizing or articulating the notes well enough. So how do we do that? Well, it's all about how you practice legato and not so much about how you play it. When I'm fretting the notes, it doesn't really actually, depending on if I'm in the middle of a phrasing thing as well, I hold my fingers like that. But when I play something fast, no matter if it's legato or that's a little longer, then my hands and fingers goes to a more classical position, like my fingers following the fret wire like that. And the thumb on the back of the neck is going down on the neck. So instead of holding it like here, right, it slides all the way back, so it's all the way down there. You can see it close up here. And when I do legato, I should say it's in the middle most of the time, right? But when I do legato, it almost goes all the way down here, because I need to approach the fretboard with a set of fingers that goes directly into the fretboard. Like, imagine something standing up on the fretboard, like this was the ground and you got a guy standing up here. That's the way you have to hit the fretboard. And that's a different thing than most other things. And just doing this, just holding your hand like that, at a relaxed, like you're not doing anything, not using any muscles in your hand. Now I am, now I'm not. So it just becomes like that. And then you apply that to the fretboard. Now I'm holding my thumb at the back of the neck, but it's like, it's also standing up. It's not grabbing. It's only the tip of my thumb that's actually touching the neck, because I have that grip around it. And then when I start doing, or practicing legato, I should say, I'm focusing on using my fingertips, which is the most important thing about practicing this. So you go, instead of having a position like that, you must have your pinky, which is the hardest part for me. You must have your pinky just aimed directly in here and have just the tip of the finger. I'm talking details here, like. So it's really the tip and not sort of the tip. It has to be really the tip. So you can't, if you go any further, you'll hit the nail, right? And the same thing goes for the other parts here. And this is a totally different feeling in the hand. It actually feels like playing a scalloped fretboard. I got a couple of guitars with scalloped fretboard. And what happens there is that you don't touch the wood underneath the string. So it feels like walking the fret wire, right? And the same thing happens here, because you have that approach to the fretboard. Then suddenly you can really feel like a pull off. It's just like, because the string is right there, a pull off is just like, it feels in a totally different way, like you're only touching the strings, because you almost are. The more you go indirectly, the less you feel the wood, actually. But what happens when you do this? Well, what happens is that as soon as you use the tip of your finger instead of this area, I can just see if I can do it close up here. The tip of the finger is like, it's much smaller than all of this area. I can hit the I can hit the guitar with this area, and I don't have to be very accurate, because I can hit it there or just a smidge to the one side, doesn't matter. But if I go for the tip, the harder part of the finger, then I have very little room for mistakes. So accuracy goes up. But accuracy is exactly the same thing that happens when you try to become good at alternate picking. That is the challenge of alternate picking, is being accurate. Being accurate with your picking motion, with the picking depth, being accurate with, it's just accuracy. Once you are accurate, you have the same amount of power going back and forth when you pick, because you have the same picking depth. So you don't have to compensate with using your whole arm or using brute force or very, clunky movements to make it happen. Clunky, is that a word? And the same thing goes here. That you are suddenly forced to use accuracy, which means that speed goes way down when you're practicing, because you're practicing a new technique. Right? It's really... And this is where the waters divide. This is where the group of guitar practitioners are divided. Those who have the patience, the focus to do that, using a metronome, or just do it, and really aim for accuracy. And those who are just, I can't be bothered with that. I have to go on doing something that seems more like progress. The problem here, or the challenge, is that what seems more like fast progress actually isn't. This is fast progress, because if you can stay there and just stay in that zone, keep working in that zone, keep staying there, keep practicing like that with a total focus on accuracy and not on speed, then after a couple of minutes, hours, days, suddenly you just discover what legato really is. How amazing that really feels in your left. It's really doing the work now. And it's not doing the work like, sub-level to alternate picking. It's really setting off the notes. And it feels like you are in contact with the strings like never before. But it requires you to not have any compromises with how you hit the string. It has to be perfect, right? You have to feel that. You have to feel, and don't use a lot of force when you do it, because then you can't practice for very long. Instead, focus on the actual accuracy of what you're doing, right? So that's what you want to do. I'm just going to give you a little exercise here, a little run. It's really effective, used as a tool of improvising, but it's also a very effective legato exercise. It's just a tiny little sequence that sounds like this. And you can turn that into a run. Right, so it's really effective, and you can use it for something afterwards. But let's just go through it, and then you can go to the website, download the tabs for this lesson here, and the video for that matter as well. So what you do is you start, let's say, in the key of A minor, because here in the 5th fret we have a nice little combination of notes. We got a first finger, second finger, and fourth finger, like a semitone and a whole tone here. That's the one combination, and then the other is a whole tone and a semitone afterwards, which makes you use the third finger for the job. Right? So you simply go, start on the B string, you pick the first note, hammer on to the 8th fret, make sure that hammer on is with the tip of that pinky. And you might just want to go like this until you got it. That's an exercise too, right? So you go, pick the first note in the 5th fret, hammer on to the 8th, pull off down to the 6th, and pull off down to the 5th. That's it on the B string. Then you mirror that sequence and do the opposite on the E string. So you simply start on the top note, like that, pick that note, pull off down to the 5th, hammer on to the 7th, and hammer on to the 8th. And then you go back again, so you go the whole thing. Right? But don't focus on speed. Focus on accuracy of just doing that. And take me up on this. See what you can do in a day if all you practice is this for several hours in front of the TV or in front of YouTube or whatever, with a metronome first perhaps, and then you just focus on accuracy. Say, I'm not going to try and rush this. Right? And make the experiment of doing that, let's say for an hour. Just doing this exercise with a focus on accuracy and not trying to play fast at any point during that hour. And then after that hour, you just try to push for speed, just for 2 minutes or 1 minute, and just feel the change in your fingers. Feel the actual change in your nervous system because you did that. You might also want to do it on a daily basis. So say you practice that one sequence all you can for one day, a couple of hours perhaps, 3 hours, right? Massive amount of repetitions with a single focus on accuracy, not trying to play fast. And then the day after, see what happened. Because that's how it is to make real progress. You can feel it in your fingers on a day-to-day basis. Instead of practicing something a little bit too fast with a lack of focus on accuracy and precision, which is the whole technique, lies in that, in accuracy, right? That's where the technique is. So with a lack of focus on that, and you're not really getting better because your technique is always flawed. It's always bad. It's always, this could be better, right? And you just continue staying in that zone of having a technique that could be better. So you feel like an intermediate or like a fraud all the time, right? Yeah, I can totally do that Van Halen stuff, and you know you can't, but it's kind of like he does it, whatever, right? So you want to break out of that, and the only way to break out of that is to retreat from that speed, thing, and then go into accuracy and precision, and then you leap forward like never before. You actually create some real nervous system results from day to day, hour to hour. So try it. Become addicted to it. I'm addicted to it. I never practice pushing for speed all the time. I always practice like this because it's like a meditation where I just, okay, let's do this for 1 hour. And then already after 1 hour, I have a result. I have an expanded sense of control, and I can do it faster with the same amount of control. So I have a real result. You do the same thing. Watch this video again if you need to, and then go to the website, click the link below, go download the tabs. I'll just make sure to create a little run for you as well, so you can try it over all 6 strings, a couple of positions perhaps, and then download the video, and then I'll, remember to subscribe and all that, go to our Instagram channel and all of that stuff, and then I'll see you in the next video. Subscribe for more free videos. Do it. Do it now. Do it.